Tonight, Unit 2G writing narrative. And now, please welcome your host for the Learn English Wednesday tonight, Mr. Phú Sĩ. Alright, so happy to see you guys back at our show tonight. Today is the 1st of June, so happy Children's Day. And tonight we'll do the Unit 2G, and it is the last section of a Unit 2. So be cool and keep doing it, okay? We'll finish this up, then tomorrow we'll move to the new unit. It is Unit 3. But now we'll finish this first. Open your books into page number 21. And tonight it is the 2G writing narrative. And what is it about? We'll find out tonight. Let's take a look at the exercise number 1 on page 21. Okay, so read Liam's narrative and what is it about? Choose the best summary A to C. So which of them will choose it? A shocking experience, B, a terrible story, or C, a special occasion. So now let's read it. Okay, let's take a read with me. Okay, one day last summer, I decided to spend a day by the sea with some friends. We don't live on the coast, so we met in town at 9 o'clock in the morning and got on a bus. We arrived about 10. We found a good place, took off our t-shirts and sat down on the sand. Suddenly, we heard a lot of noise. We stood up and looked around. A few people were shouting and waving near the edge of the water. At first I thought that there was a shark, but then I realized that somebody had got into difficulty in the sea. Two men went into the water and carried a girl out. She wasn't moving at all. She was unconscious. They put her down on the sand and tried to wake her up. A few minutes later, an ambulance arrived and 3 paramedics jumped out. They started giving the girl emergency treatment. Just then, the girl's mother arrived. She looked shocked and scared. Then the girl sat up and looked around. Her mother was so relieved. She broke down and started crying. In the end, the paramedics left and the girl went off with her mother. She was fine, but we all felt a bit strange, especially when we were swimming in the sea. It was a day I'll never forget. So we have read through it. And now let's choose the answer. What is it from? Is it A, a shocking experience, B, a terrible holiday, or C, a special occasion? So, I think the answer will be a shocking experience. Because yes, a shocking experience because it's said right there. Suddenly, we heard a lot of noise. It is at line number 6 after the line number 5. We heard a lot of noise. That means they shocked when they heard it. We stood up and looked around. A few people were shouting and waving near the edge of the water. I thought that was a shark at first. But then I realized that somebody has got into difficulty in the sea. Okay, so they were shocked about that. Okay, and she was at line number 20. She was fine, but we all felt a bit strange, especially when we were swimming in the sea. It was a day I'll never forget. So, a shocking experience. Choose A for the question number 1, exercise number 1. Move on to the exercise number 2 on page number 21. Exercise number 2, what do they tell us to do? Read Liam's paragraph plan, then decide where the paragraph breaks should be in his narrative. So we have to divide it into 4 parts, because it said that those are 4 paragraphs and we need to divide it. Okay, so now let's read. Paragraph 1, set the scene, we go to the beach. So let's find which is the main idea, what is the content of, what are the contents of the paragraph number 1. So we go to the beach. Okay, we go to the beach. Where to where? One day last summer, I decided to spend a day by the sea and with some friends. We don't live near the coast, so we met in town at 9 o'clock in the morning and got on a bus. Okay, we arrived at about 10. We found a good place, took off our t-shirts and sat down on the sand. Suddenly we heard a lot of noise. So it is about the next line. It is about the action of the girl was being rescued by the people around, and also the paramedics had helped her wake up. So only one day to understand at the line number 5. It is the answer to the paragraph number 1. Paragraph number 1, set the scene, we go to the beach. It is from one day last summer to sat down on the sand. It is in line number 5. So it will be one day last summer to sat down on the sand. So the paragraph 2 will be started at suddenly. But to where? Suddenly, where is it? Suddenly we heard a lot of noise. And what does the paragraph about? What is it about? Lead up, shouting, somebody in difficulty. So suddenly after that suddenly we heard a lot of noise. We stood up and looked around. A few people were shouting and waving near the edge of the sea, edge of the water. At first I thought that was a shot, but then I realized that somebody had got into the difficulty and okay, in the sea. 2 men went into the water and carried the girl out. She wasn't moving at all, but she was unconscious. They put her down and on the sand and tried to wake her up. A few minutes later, an ambulance arrived. So it is about the lead up. So the girl was shouting, and they thought that somebody is in the difficulty, and it is true. They thought that it was a shock, but that girl was in the difficulty. So it is from suddenly to before the word a few minutes later at the line number 13. Okay, so be right back and fill in the answer. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.